So, my ignition failed on my car. It jammed up. The locksmith gave me a bad lock, and I've had nothing but trouble ever since. But I'm alerted that certain parts are going to fail. And if you knew that going in, you wouldn't buy a vehicle that had a part that was going to... So what they do is, the company, they make a car. They have a couple of test guys who drive all the way around to see if it can fail. And if it fails, if it gets past 30,000 miles, then they'll sell it. They say, we're going to sell it. So the truth is, there's a dirty little game going on with manufacturers. So there's nothing they can do once it fails to the cars that you have, but if you knew in advance, you wouldn't buy them. Well, looking around, tell me a few dirty details on this kind of thing, son.
The what?
Tell me a few details on this kind of...
Well, the lock housings, they fail on mostly Volkswagens.
Why Volkswagens?
They have a lock cylinder that jams up, and it's basically a spring that breaks inside, and once that spring breaks, the car freezes. On the Volkswagens, usually they're in the on position and they can't get the key out.
Gotcha.
This one failed. Somebody diagnosed the wrong problem, fixed the wrong problem, and it occurred that you had more problems. So we just need to fix the right part so it doesn't happen in the future. But this is not a common problem for Hyundais. This is a rare problem.
Honda's a good...
Yeah, they're usually...
Tell me this. Why would Volkswagen keep on making this kind of a...
They don't anymore because things are all like push button start now.
But I noticed you've got two all ready to go because it happens all the time.
It happens all the time.
Damn. So they've got push button start and it's stopped it finally. But
yeah.
How many people have bought a Volkswagen and had this happen to them?
Anybody that has 120,000 miles or more on it, it's happened. And if you gave your car up at 80,000 miles, and the next person gets the problem.
So buyer beware. Hyundai has a pretty good reputation because
the only problem with these cars, they get stolen a lot.
Hyundais can get stolen easy. That's something I didn't know. I've never had it.
Yeah.
But I had this since 2009. It's got about 50,000 miles on. I've had a few problems, but essentially it's a good old car and I like it very much. But what would you say was a bad car to buy?
A BMW.
Really?
Oh, they're horrible.
Why is that?
They break down a lot.
Wow.
If you ask any tow driver what car is towed the most, it's that car.
And that's the high-end ones too?
Yeah.
Wow.
The high-end one's more than the low-end ones.
Really?
Yeah.
And what kind of engine problems?
It's not usually engine problems. It's everything around it. It's oil leaks, oil separator problems, oil turbo problems.
Damn.
It's not usually the engine now. It's usually the problems around the engine.
So if you're going to buy a good car,
good cars are Toyotas, Hyundais, Honda, Kia, Subaru. These are good cars.
What's the most towed car?
BMW. Yeah.
Do you think if people knew that, they'd buy them?
They're very good at marketing or something because they're everywhere.
I should get that marketing team to come to work for me, right?
I know.
Any other little tricks we should know as buyers we should know about?
Just take it to a mechanic before you buy the car. That's the law in California.
A new one even?
So you can, not a new car, you don't, because it's new.
Yeah.
But most new cars nowadays, if you buy it, you have to wait for it.
Yeah,
but a used car, you can always take it to a mechanic of your choice. You can't that's the law. You're allowed to drive it to them. They're allowed to hold the car for 48 hours if necessary. And before, they have no, even if it's at a used car dealer, this is the law.
Really?
Yeah.
Is there a good watchdog group?
The BAR, the Bureau of Auto Repair.
Yeah? Got to look into them. Yeah. This young man is 12 years old, an enterprising fellow, came to work with his uncle. That's the kind of stuff I used to see. When I grew up, it was commonplace. Today, the kids are on their videos, right?
Oh, yeah, he does it, but not as much as his brother.
The work ethic. This guy earned an extra $20 toward the pants he wants to buy today, didn't he? So he hands the tools to his uncle, and it's like, I'd love to see more of this apprenticeship, son. There you have it. So I found a great guy here, came out when he's not even open, on Saturday to fix my car. And what a wonderful man. He's educated me and all of you into what not to do when you're buying a car. Hyundai, good company basically, and this usually doesn't happen to them unless something like a bad locksmith makes a bad lock for you. There you have it, Al Graham for the Crystal Ship Podcast, live on the streets of Coronado. You know what, I'm going to do a commercial for this guy who fixed my car because he is really unusual, a nice man, works hard. It's named Cali Lock and Key. And he even recommends Quality Towing because they must be good, or he wouldn't be recommending them. I think he's recommending them. Perhaps he's the tow company himself. I'm going to ask him. Anyway, his name is Bob. He's a great guy. He's a cool rock and roller, and he wears Vans. So what more can you? What more can you ask? Hey, do you own Quality Towing too?
No.
So you just
I work with them.
Oh, I see. So they're a good company. You recommend.
Every towing company has negatives and positives.
And this one?
This one, same thing. There's negatives and positives. Not
Why
everybody.
did you choose them?
I chose them because they give me more work. They're probably one of the bigger tow companies in San
Really?
Diego that work only with insurance. They don't take people's personal cars.
Good.
They
You know-
don't go to a lot and tow cars.
Worst one I had experience with was Angelo's Towing.
Angelo's, they take personal cars. Western is the worst of them.
Weston, huh?
Yeah, they are the worst. They're hawks. They take cars if they're parked in the red. And then there's Road One.
There's no.
But the worst one is Western. That's the only survivability of that company is to take people's cars.
So there's no watchdog group or law against any of it?
No, because they're allowed to tow in the red. They're allowed to tow from people's apartment buildings when they have parked in the wrong spot.
And that whole thing
But-
about when they get your car, they're charging you every minute for
Every
storage.
day, yeah.
Wow.
They do the towing, the daily fee, you know. But they are by far the worst.
So the
Quality, they call them PPIs, which is called private party impound.
Wow.
And Quality, they only do it if it's like, hey, this car's been at my liquor store for a week. Can you just get rid of the car?
gotcha.
Then they'll come down.
Yeah. So
But
these guys are not that bad.
they're not that bad.
Yeah. Well, what's bad about them?
Nobody likes everybody. It's
You know what? You tell the truth too much.
I mean, people are people. Some people are, they're like, hey, this is.
Yeah.
I had a problem with it. Nothing's perfect in the world.
Yeah.
You know.
That's right. Well, what a great report. Al Graham for the Coronado Clarion, the Worldwide Crime Watch, and the Crystal Ship Podcast and Case. Pixie Radio, the only nuclear-powered radio station on God's green earth. We had a very real podcast there about really serious things that affect the consumer. And this is what we present to you as not some kind of fluff report on a car company, but the reality. And when you go to buy a car, think twice. No, think 3 times. Because that man in there is one of the few honest men that I've met in this business. Locksmithing, towing, they're all a bunch of goddamn crooks as far as I'm concerned. But legal crooks. And there you have it.